And continuing our SUV series of reviews and following on from the Q7 last week, here is Audi's Q3. What you have is a sporty-ish SUV. That means lots of extra space, right? Well, does it? Does it mean extra space when you put a slanty window like this in it, as opposed to coming out like so, where you lose that much extra? So those big bulky things you were going to put in the back, you're not going to put in the back. But all is not lost. This very attractive colour, this metallic blue, is an option. There's a nice set of LED headlights, but they're not the matrix kind that you find on the upper models, although that is an option on this one. There's a smart set of wheels, and naturally with the key in my pocket, I just slip my hand inside the handle and the doors open, and there's a little divot. Just press this little dent and the doors lock again. The mirrors only unfold once you start the car. The tailgate's electric, of course, and if you can manage not to look too stupid, if you wave your foot around the middle of the car, it'll open for you automatically. There is a space saver spare underneath, and this rather smart metal garnish along the top edge. Space isn't too bad in the back considering, and the seats do go down in a 40-40-20 split. There are two buttons at the top of the tailgate, one closes and one closes and locks. Space back here is fairly nice. There's an absolute ton of headroom. Some nifty Jesus grips. Like everything with Audi, it feels like it's quality, although the leather does seem quite hard. Normally leather in Audis is butter soft, and this really feels like it's going to outlast Armageddon. There's some smart little quarter windows, some rear vents, a couple of USB points, and a 12-volt outlet. Though space here isn't exactly capacious, I can fit my feet in boots under the seat in front, with about 3 centimeters worth of space between my knee and the seat back. In the front, there is a lot of space. The steering wheel, of course, has manual adjustment, but in this particular pack, the driver gets automatic seat adjustment. There is quite a bit of piano black around. Although it looks fabulous, is not one of my favourites because it gets lots of finger marks on it, and in the afternoon sun, it blinds you with the strength of about 15 suns. The centre console has Audi's new media system, and there's just a little click between each of these virtual buttons. Now you'll notice one of those virtual buttons will take me to CarPlay because I've got my phone connected. But the good thing about Audi CarPlay now is that it's wireless, so not only does it give you the flexibility of using Siri, but it means you don't have to plug your phone in. So you don't run out of power though. There's a wireless charger for your phone. Below the screen are the dual zone climate controls, the stop start button and radio control, the drive select button, traction control off, stop start on and off, the parking sensors and the automated parking, plus the downhill descent control. Of course, it's got a slightly smaller version of Audi's virtual dash, which can display any amount of information and you can scroll through. Before we head off on the road though, I want to point out a couple of other things that I really like. The doors and the dash is quite soft. There's some beautiful trim that, yes, it is piano black, but it is very narrow piano black. And this turn aluminium that is just delicious. And see this Quattro sign? Well, that lights up at night, along with these little slits in the doors. The Audi Q3 comes in 3 different models. The one I'm driving, the mid-range 40 TFSI Quattro, has a more modest 132 kilowatts at 4,000 RPM and 320 Newton meters from a low 1,400 RPM. The 40 TFSI costs $53,900, and this particular car has a couple of extra options. The metallic paint for $1,250 and $2,250 gets the premium package. In this particular car, the dampers are not adjustable and they're tuned towards, I would say, comfort rather than super sporty handling. It is an engaging drive, and just now when I was in the national park, I was really getting stuck in. and I would not call the cornering super flat. It does get a bit roly-poly. The trade-off, of course, is that for the rest of the time you get a nice ride, and I'm okay with that. Ooh, an AC Cobra. Nice. And what's also nice, as we trundle along the cliff top, is just how quiet this is. Now, the wheels are quite big, and you do get a little bit of road noise, especially as the speed gets up. But by and large, it is very quiet and very comfortable. This is the Seacliff Bridge. You're not getting a very good view of it from inside the car, I grant you. Up there on the hill is the Bald Hill Lookout. Over to the left are the remnants of the old road which went along the cliff front, and it fell into the sea during a storm, and for a couple of years this didn't exist, so you had to go all the way around to get to those beachside suburbs. Now, if you're wondering why it's called the Seacliff Bridge, they had a competition and a little girl named it, but it was a little boy, not sure. And they said, well, it's over the sea and it's by a cliff, why don't we call it the Seacliff Bridge? I mean, you can't argue with that logic. Now climbing up a hill, I've left the transmission in normal old drive mode and the drive select in automatic, so it'll do its thing and tell me what it thinks I need. There are steering wheel paddles for the automatic, but to be honest with you, I can't be bothered. I used them just now going through the national park, but even then that was just to see how they worked. There is enough poke in the engine to give you decent performance, but you're still looking at almost 8 seconds to get to 100 kilometers an hour. Now we think that's a little bit slow, but once upon a time that was supercar territory. Now that I'm going through a few tighter bends slightly faster, I can really feel the extra weight and the extra height, and the fact that the suspension isn't rock hard means that there's just a gentle roll. But if you switch directions really fast, you can definitely feel the weight shift. But since we're following a truck up here, we're doing a little bit under the speed limit. I suppose that's better than crawling up at 20. You can hear that little 2-litre engine working quite hard. I put the automatic transmission into sports mode, so it's holding the gears longer going up hills. It knows that I want a little bit of power and I want to hold the engine in that rev band. I just wanted to show you this quickly. If you put the window up and there's an obstruction, it reverses down to a safe level so that little kiddies' fingers won't get stuck in. Now we're at highway speed, we're at 110. Well, we were at 110, but I've got the smart cruise control on, and the person in front slowed down slightly, so it meant that I did too. There is active lane control, so the electric steering will keep me centered in the lane. If I try and change lanes and there's someone beside me, it'll try and steer me back into the lane again as well. There's blind spot monitoring as well, and that comes up in little lights on the rear vision mirror outside the window. Pretty standard fare. There's also autonomous emergency braking and a feast of airbags, a veritable cornucopia. So to round up, I like the styling very much. I like the interior. I like the surfacing. If you've liked the film, don't forget to leave a comment, hit like, and above all, just there to subscribe.